Cowabunga dudes, we're back for another Geek Tavern. It's me, Shredder. I'm joined with Michelangelo.
Hey, dude.
And April, I guess.
What?
And yeah. So
April, you're not looking so hot these days.
No, I had a sex change.
I haven't been watching much movies recently, but I've been pretty much watching exclusively HBO Max. I subscribe to that service. I watched the last 2 seasons of Westworld. I watched the entirety of Watchmen and, well, these 3 recommended films on it as well. So, yeah, I've pretty much just been watching that. What have you guys been up to?
I am as well watching HBO Max. I did not get it as cheap as you because you suck. But I actually went through and watched another trilogy from my childhood that's on there, The Mighty Ducks.
Oh, yeah?
I absolutely, like, if I wouldn't have watched those, that could have been another suggestion. Maybe not the whole trilogy, but so I watched that. Been watching some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Just
there's a lot on there.
Yeah, I love Will Smith. Like I've always have. So that's really all I've been watching, other than obviously the recommended movies.
I watched Twister last night on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that too, actually.
They actually put a couple new ones on Netflix, and
Yeah.
I think it's just to compete with the fact that HBO Max is out now.
I did notice there's a ton of new stuff.
Uncut Gems is now on Netflix,
yeah?
So we could have waited like a month and then watched it on Netflix.
I mean, we rented it for like $3, so
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal. But
there were a couple other ones that I was like surprised. I was like, "Ooh, I'm putting that on my watch list." But yeah, I only watched like Twister. I watched Red, which stands for Retired Extremely Dangerous, starring Bruce Willis and Carl Urban. And then I think did we mention last time that we watched Logan Lucky?
you did, yeah.
Yeah. And then what was the other one?
Rat Race.
Rat Race, which I hadn't watched since I was like 5 years old, and remembered almost nothing from it, and watched it again recently, and it is one of the funniest movies I've ever watched.
Yeah, it's extremely funny.
Like, it might be on par for, like, Step Brothers level humor with me.
But yeah, so we all watched those on HBO Max. Well, most of us watched HBO Max. And that is one hell of a service, I gotta say.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of pricey, I feel, but I mean, if you share a password and...
Whoa. Hold on. Nobody's sharing passwords.
Well, I mean, like, not with, like, family-wise. I mean...
I got in under the radar, where if you did it before HBO Max launched, you got it for $10 a month for a year.
Which is a way better deal.
Yeah.
Like... Anyway, so what I was meaning was, my brother and I, basically, are splitting the cost, so... I don't know.
How much is it regular?
Don't at me.
Like $14 a month now.
$14.99, I think.
Yeah.
I suppose it's not terrible.
It's not ridiculous.
I mean, it's got a lot of stuff on there, but I also feel like they need to add some more stuff to make it worth it.
One thing I wanted to mention for anybody that's on the fence, don't get it through the Hulu app. Because I don't know exactly what all is like this, but one specific thing that I'm really excited for is Doctor Who is on HBO Max.
I saw that.
But it's not on the Hulu version. Like, if you go through the Hulu app to watch HBO Max. Because I have Roku, so I tried that just to see what was, up. And, like, Doctor Who, you can't find it on there.
Huh.
So there's actually differences depending on how you access it.
That's weird.
It's really dumb. Beware.
Well, I think since we got our brief introduction out of the way, I think we should jump right into things since we're going to be talking about 3 separate movies.
That was our briefest introduction so far.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
If you couldn't tell from our intro, we had a bit of a theme this week, and we watched all 3 Ninja Turtles movies.
Yes, we did.
On HBO Max.
Give us money.
So, I guess we'll just start with the first one. Hold on, let me pull up. I guess I could just remember it. So, it begins basically with... April is kind of the main character, Really?
Yeah, kind of.
So
I
it's
would
just
say that,
the
'cause-
turtles.
Not in the sense of the 2014 one, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie starts and she's reporting on these like crime wave hitting the city, and we find out that's the Foot Clan, and she gets caught up in that, and the turtles save her, and basically it's just the turtles versus the Foot Clan the whole movie.
yeah.
So that's essentially it for the first movie. It's not very complex.
No, there's not a lot to it. As you said there, she's kind of digging into it. This is, I guess, where we'll start. One thing I noticed that kind of, it didn't bug me from like a movie standpoint, but like it was kind of frustrating for the character of April O'Neil, is she has a name of the clan.
Yeah.
And Chief Stern is just like, nah, that ain't real. It's a bunch of BS or whatever.
I know that like this is a part of April's character, like allying with the turtles and everything, but whenever Raph saves her the first time and like takes her back to the sewer, the first thing that I could think of is like, you were a reporter. Why are you not trying to get evidence of mutant ninja turtles?
Right.
Like to, break that news. She like sticks with the Foot Clan stuff. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that these humanoid turtles, giant turtle people, would be a much larger story than the Foot Clan crap. I just thought that was, I get that's like a part of her character, but it's like, if that was real, that obviously wouldn't happen.
Yeah, you would think that she would be like, okay guys, I'll be right back. Like, instead of just befriending them and, just playing along or keeping their secret or whatever, that probably wouldn't happen.
It's kind of funny that the whole thing that kind of jumpstarts the movie is just Raphael losing one of his sai.
Yeah.
So he has to go back and get it.
And there's a couple things about that I actually wanted to bring up. I noticed, now here, we talked before the podcast about not knowing which movie it is. I think it's this one. Raph throws his sai, or he loses that one, but then he like throws them at some point somewhere. I don't know.
No, yeah.
And then he like just has them again.
Yeah, I think it's the second one.
Is it the second one?
Or the third. I know he throws one in the third one.
Oh my god, it might have been the third one.
But in the second one, he does throw one, and I was going to bring it up when we got there, but it reminded me of whenever Kuroda throws the knife at Link from our last movie. It reminded me of that.
What? I remember what it was. And it is this movie. It's when they're attacking April's apartment.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets beat up on the roof, and I think the Foot throws them off the side of the building.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then later at the farm, he just has them.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That's just one little thing that I noticed with this watch through.
So Casey Jones is a psychopath.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like his first introduction is whenever Raph's just walking around town, and then he's like beating the crap out of people with like a hockey stick. And then jumping forward a bit, he literally killed Shredder. Obviously not because of what happens in the second movie. Yeah, he's like, whoops. And
after
comically,
after Splinter does his Die Hard, dropping him off the side of the building,
and just like drops him into the back of a dump truck, and he crushes him.
Yes, I would like to point out. I pointed out to Sean, there was blood seen in the shot after it starts to close. There's blood seen.
Is there?
And I was like, Shredder is dead.
Yeah.
He's crushed.
Well, anybody that would be in a dumpster or a dump truck.
First off, the fall from 6 stories would kill you anyway.
Yeah. It depends on what kind of garbage would be in there, actually, but...
You're probably not landing on something too soft.
Yeah. If it's just like, soft garbage.
But then when he closed the hydraulics, it's like,
yeah, when you do that smash thing, like, I'm pretty sure I watched something where they did that, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter how less of garbage there is in there, it's gonna crush you.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Hydraulic press versus human, you're dead.
One complaint that I kind of had about this one is that all the turtles felt the same. Like, they didn't really have their personalities that I think that you come to know now, where like, I mean, Raph was angry, I guess,
Yeah.
but I felt like all the rest of them were just kind of like the same.
Yeah, it's not as in depth as they went in like the cartoons and stuff, or it's not as prominent rather. But yeah, Raph's really the only one that's like super noticeable.
Yeah, like his actual personality that most people know.
Yeah,
With his extremely thick New York accent.
Yeah.
I love Raph in these movies.
Oh my gosh.
As I got older, I actually liked Raph more than like it was all about Michelangelo just because Mike. So I was like, oh, my favorite, But-
I always liked Michelangelo, but I've grown to like Raph more.
Yeah,
But this movie definitely had the feel that the 90s was trying to cash in on comic book heroes,
yeah,
because this was the same year that Marvel did Captain America, which everyone wants to forget happened,
yeah.
and comes 4 years before the Fantastic Four movie that never happened.
Yeah, that was.
But this definitely had that feel of they're like, we need to cash in on these comic book characters, because if we don't, someone else will.
I don't even know if it was that, because it is an independent movie.
Right.
Yeah, based on an independent comic book, but that comic book blew up. And this movie only comes 6 years after the start of the comic by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. So they started it in 1984, and then this comes 6 years after, where they're just like, hey, we need to do something with this. And I think it elevated their popularity a lot more. But they started those characters, and it just blew up from there.
Yeah, I mean this is more impactful.
I mean, they're a household name.
Yeah, and I would argue that this is a bigger part of why they're a household name. I mean, the cartoon was popular, but it really wasn't until this movie came out.
And I mean, the movies definitely increased the popularity, because before then, you'd have to go to like a Comic-Con or something and be like, oh yeah, the Ninja Turtles. And they'd be like, oh yeah, like nobody knew what they were, because the cartoon.
That's how it got big. I think somebody shared one of their original, comic.
Yeah.
At a convention in New York. I think that's what I heard, and then that person liked it and like showed it to all his buddies, and it, like just.
There's a Toys That Made Us on Netflix.
That must
where
be
they
where
talk about Eastman and Laird.
Yeah.
Like they talk about their whole start and everything.
Yeah.
And I guess the way that he created it was they both were extremely tired, and they lived in the same apartment. And he said, like, I think it was Peter. Peter used to draw like crazy shit to like just make Kevin laugh.
Right.
And he's like, check this out. And he drew like a ninja turtle. Like it was a turtle.
Yeah,
not like a humanoid turtle.
turtle.
And it had like a sai and like a nunchucks or something. And
I think it had like all the weapons, actually.
Yeah, and he's like, what is that? He's like, it's a ninja turtle. And then like, boom, like that idea.
Because that just rolls off the tongue.
Yep.
It's really hard to think about because we know it so well.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like if that's what he said, it probably just felt like it rolled off the tongue.
Yeah.
I would think.
It's a genius idea.
Yeah.
And nobody even questions it, eh? Like no one goes, this is so stupid, or this is like everybody just goes, that's humanoid turtles that are ninjas. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever met somebody who's like, Ninja Turtles are dumb. It's like, no, they're not really.
Yeah, I can't say as I remember ever catching any flack for Ninja Turtle love.
I think that the costumes, we need to talk about those.
Yes.
Because those are, I mean, they all look pretty much the same, but I think that this one's probably the best that they've looked throughout the sequels.
Yeah, I like them in the first movie, because, and we'll get into why, like, I think they look weird. Like, I think that they have better mobility in the second and third one.
Yeah,
yeah.
So.
But they sacrifice, like, looks over mobility.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to just have like an overall discussion about that after all three, because I can't really talk about the first set without the second set and the third set. Yeah, I'm trying to just think of, like, there's just some key things that stick out from this movie in a 90s nostalgia kind of way, like the warehouse that they operate, the Foot.
The kid casino,
basically.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they got everything. There's a shot of like a a punk thrasher like
Oh yeah, I'm shredding.
soloing on a bass guitar. Like,
oh, that was one thing I was gonna bring up. When April was at the police station, and that's like in the second or third scene in the movie that she's talking.
yeah,
to the
I mean it's
chief.
very early. Yeah,
She's talking to the chief after she talked to her boss.
yeah,
And her boss's son is there, and she's asking, like, hey, Danny, like, how's school and all that. And then she goes to the police station, and as she's leaving, Danny is being taken away in handcuffs.
yeah.
But then it's like 2 days later in the movie, the dad gets called about, like, do you have a son named Danny? And I was like, that was like 2 days ago he got arrested. I was like, why are they just calling now?
I wonder if he was just silent. I mean, they don't say it. It's all speculation. But I kind of wonder if he was just not talking.
No, maybe.
And they just finally, he was like, this is my name.
Well, they use it.
When does
Well, no,
Dad,
because
like,
he uses him to try and blackmail April to not talk shit about the chief of police and talk about the Foot Clan. That's basically what happens. Like, because then her boss, whenever she
has a
starts
very
bad
unfortunate
mouthing,
couple of days.
whenever she starts bad mouthing him, he gets a call immediately, and it's like, we got a deal.
Yeah.
the comical police chief.
Yeah.
I found myself actually disliking him more than like when I was ever a kid or something, you know. Like I just was like, yeah, this guy sucks at his job. It makes me very angry. So April's apartment, I kind of wanted to point out like how devastating that was for her.
Yeah.
But like we don't touch on it at all. Like
there's never like anything.
I mean, it's her dad's antiques in the basement. It's just all up in smoke.
See, I would have hoped, like, in the second one that they would have been like, where are you open the antique shop or whatever.
Yeah,
you know, like, something like that the turtles all, like, either stole money or pitched in to, like, help. But instead, like, that's never touched on again.
I mean,
it just burns down and that's it.
That whole scene to me, I mean, it's a great fight scene for one.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much all the fight scenes, and I could just be biased, but I think they're all pretty great fight scenes.
Yeah, for the most part, they're pretty good.
I think they get better as the movies go on, too.
Yeah.
The movies do touch on some really heavy stuff, though. Like, obviously, April, you know, losing her attachment to her father when the antique store burns down. And even in the very beginning, whenever Splinter's like, I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah, I wonder if that actually kind of ties into the whole Splinter. For some reason in this movie, Splinter's like, I'm going to die soon.
Yeah. And then
and then he doesn't.
And then he doesn't die in the whole trilogy.
I like because Leo like talks to Mikey whenever he's waiting for the pizza. He's like, do you ever think... Oh yeah, Donnie, I guess. He's like, you ever think about what Master Splinter said about not being here all the time? And Mikey's just like, completely ignores him. He's like, oh, pizza's
30 seconds.
Yeah, pizza's $3 off.
3 minutes late. $3 off.
Wise man said never pay full price for late pizza.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
And I kept thinking about like Splinter. Like, when he said that, I remembered what was it? Was it the 2012 or 2013?
The newest one?
The
newer
turtle.
one?
Yeah, the newer
14.
Okay. Because when that came out, I thought Splinter had died in that one. And then I was like, no, wait, no, he didn't. I was like, he didn't die, but Shredder fought him.
Yeah.
So whenever Splinter was talking about that, I was like, oh, does Splinter die in this movie? Because I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say about this movie. Rian Johnson must have been a fan of the first Ninja Turtles movie, because there's almost a shot-for-shot scene where it's like when Luke gets back in touch with the Force, and he's like touching the stone, and you hear Leia say Luke, and then he goes Leia and opens his eyes. There's like a shot-for-shot exact of Splinter talking. Was it Donnie?
It was Leo.
It was Leo.
Leo.
Yeah, because he was at April's like farmhouse,
and he's like meditating, and then Splinter says like doesn't he say Leo? And then he goes
Leonardo.
Yeah, and he goes Splinter, and then takes off, and I was like, that was exactly like what happened in The Last Jedi.
Yeah. That's great.
And then the turtles Splinter force projected himself into the campfire that they were talking.
I never understood that as a kid. Like, I kind of wondered if that was just for the people or the kids, so they knew that it was like Splinter talking to them. because the turtles have their eyes closed, so they don't see that at all.
Yeah.
So, like I've often wondered if that's just for
Probably.
visual reference. Like
Yeah.
it probably didn't actually happen. You know?
Yeah. That would be my guess, is because
Because nothing else in this movie says
Yeah, it's
magical BS. Like,
Well,
there was literally nothing
Yeah.
else that was like that. Because when he did that, I was like, oh, the turtles have the Force now.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, what?
Oh yes, a
I was
movie
like, I remember
about
this.
a movie about mutant teenage ninja turtles has
I mean,
nothing
they are
about
mutants, so
magic. Well, that's true. They're mutated. They're not
Yeah.
magic.
Listen, I can spend my disbelief for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but not when they get the Force.
It's
That's
pretty.
out there.
It's pretty far along in the movie that we finally get to hear kind of Shredder's motivation,
yeah.
because we find out through Splinter that his master Yoshi, like
In a very long exposition.
in a hilarious puppetry of a tiny rat,
Doing karate in the cage.
that was great looking. But so we find out from Splinter that his master Yoshi was the one that he takes. They're both fighting over the same girl,
Yeah.
and I guess Shredder kills her, and then also Master Yoshi, and then Splinter gets
Claws
out
his
and claws
face.
the hell out of his face.
Yeah.
And then that's when he finds the turtles, I guess. And I don't know exactly why Shredder is doing the things he's doing, but
I mean, he was just banished from Japan, so where does anybody else go? New York.
yeah, I guess.
The
So
Big Apple. Try to make it.
Start my criminal underworld with a bunch of teenagers
yeah.
and one guy that growls.
Mm.
That's all he does is growl.
Tatsu.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tatsu.
that's right, Tatsu.
Who that one scene where he beats the heck out of that foot guy, and then I swear they added it in later because they like pull up his mask, and then they cut away, and it's like he's gonna be all right. He's gonna be all right.
Yeah, it's like ADR did when the guy was clearly dead.
Yeah, it's like that guy's dead.
Yeah, Tatsu like loses it there. I've realized how useless the character really is.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he doesn't do anything really. Shredder sends him on these missions and basically always fails, except for in the second one. But basically anything with the turtles, he almost always fails.
Yeah.
Which I guess is why Shredder hates them. But it's like,
Yeah,
take care of the shit yourselves. Like,
Tatsu's not exactly the brightest bulb.
clearly. Mm.
Yeah.
I think it's not until the second one he even talks.
I
No,
don't know.
he talks in the first
Did
one.
he
I think
talk
he
in the
says
first
some stuff, yeah. I thought it was weird, the Casey and April relationship. They just kind of throw it on.
Yeah,
to
that's
us.
in my notes. Like, the whole farmhouse. So as a kid, the farmhouse part seems so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 20 minutes, I think, at most.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like so long until the turtles finally went back to New York.
They
But-
just show Raph's dead body in the tub.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Like, I don't understand, like, did they think he was dead?
Because when they
Well,
cut
he got
back,
jumped by the foot, so they probably thought that he was really hurt. I don't know.
when they cut back, and he's just laying there with like one arm out of the
But they're
tub.
like not doing anything to him. He's just laying in the tub.
Yeah, and
like,
then April's like splashing water on him
yeah, like
as soon as he wakes up.
I
What's
mean,
the
he was
guy
clearly
going
just
to-
knocked out.
Yeah.
Maybe they should get like a vet or something like that. You know, something you can figure out
Yeah,
what's wrong with the humanoid
He was
reptile.
knocked out for like a week and a half
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
It was a couple weeks because Shredder says to, I think Tatsu, like that the turtles have been gone for been missing for like 2 weeks. I think he says almost, I think specifically 2 weeks. So
you brought up the forced relationship between April and
oh yeah, that's where we're
Casey
going.
Jones. And I just want to point out that there is a better chemistry between Jason Statham and the woman in the Meg than there is between those two. Like
Yeah.
that movie, actually, I was like, they're probably gonna end up together, and they do. And I was like, yeah, because that's what it did.
I mean,
This
as a
movie, it's
turtle
like-
fan, like I obviously knew. I was like, oh yeah, they're an item. But that's one thing that stood out with this watch was this is awkward.
And they're an item, but then it gets thrown out.
Basically. I mean,
Like,
they kiss at the end. Like,
Yeah.
But then he's not in 2, and he only shows up in 3 to babysit.
yeah, I didn't dig into that before we did this, but I am curious. Like, I don't know if the actor just didn't want to come back.
Well, I think 2 had like a whole other production team or something because
It was still pretty much
Casey
all the
wasn't
same.
in it.
It's not until the third one it's completely different.
Okay,
People.
because April's played by a different girl in the
Yeah.
second one, and I don't think Corey Feldman didn't play.
Yeah, no, he's done all three of them.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see his name on the cast list for the second one.
I'm pretty sure. Unless
I
he
think-
left
I
for the
think you're
second one
right.
and came back for the third
Yeah,
one.
because there was like stuff where I was like, man, there's like some inconsistencies here in
Yeah.
production.
Really strange.
Yeah, I don't know if any of the turtles.
I'm pretty sure that
Voices.
Raph is a different person.
That could
in
be.
the second
Every
and the
movie.
third one. I think he's the same in the second
okay.
and third one, but he's definitely not the same from the first.
No, because he sounds like JonTron in the first one. He just comes, he's like, why are you guys doing that? Why are you doing that?
I lost my side.
Oh, and that's the other thing.
But
Casey
it's
Jones
gone.
is a psychopath for another reason. He does not question that a turtle in a trench coat and fedora wants to beat
Oh,
the
yeah.
crap out of him.
Yeah, he doesn't even recognize he's a turtle. He's like, hey, Baldy.
Yeah.
I hate punkers, especially ugly ones with green makeup.
And no nose. And an extremely wide mouth. And reptilian skin.
Was Feldman? He was Donnie, wasn't
yeah.
he? All right, so
It didn't sound like him in the second one.
Leif Tilden
He's the one who plays him in the
is
second
in number
one.
2, but I remember specifically.
He definitely was in 1 and 2.
1 and 3. You mean?
Or yeah, 3.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure for 3 I saw him back on the cast list.
Yeah, he is in the third one.
Yeah, because we saw that on the credits when it
Yeah.
rolled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just weird, like, inconsistencies where I'm like, why didn't they just keep, like, I mean, I get it, you can't keep the same person all the time, but for
But
you to,
anyway-
like, you have one guy playing him in the first movie, then the second movie, it's not the same, but then
So,
in the third movie, it's
With the
same.
turtles, like even watching them, and I didn't watch them the same day, so it might have been a little different for you
Hmm.
guys. But like, I didn't really notice the difference in voices throughout the whole trilogy.
Yeah, they're pretty consistent.
Like whoever comes in on the second one,
Yeah.
like it's fine.
Plus, they're going through puberty.
It's-
So when
yeah,
their
it's not
voices
just
change.
that.
You're like, meh.
Yeah.
alright.
So I guess let's take a minute and talk about the final fight scene of the first one.
Where Shredder just completely
Just
hands it to him.
Destroys the turtles.
Like, they don't even beat him at all. It's all Splinter that does it.
Leonardo gets 1 or 2 slashes in. He cuts his upper arm, and he got a slash on the back of like his back shoulder. But other than that, yeah, they that's like the only offense they ever get.
They don't touch him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And which is kind of funny when you think about it when it gets to the second movie.
Well,
but
Yeah. Well, I like that they didn't touch him. I think it's even in my notes, which I have barely whatever. So like, the only reason he gets defeated in this moment is because Splinter tells him, "Ooh, I know you,
Yeah.
Kusaki." Like,
yeah.
you know, and as a kid, I don't know why it was so mysterious. It's up there with like the end scene where you see Darth Vader's face, but for me, when Shredder takes that mask off, like, it's such an iconic thing. Like, to me, you know, like that's my version of Darth Vader
Being unmasked.
being unmasked. You know, because oh my god, like
Yeah, but
you don't know what he looks like, and
it'd be more powerful if we saw Orokosaki before
yeah,
everything. I guess we kind of see him
Yeah,
after
in that
Shredder or
flash.
Splinter shreds him up, but
I don't think we get a very good lighted
no.
look at him.
Could just have been anybody under the mask, and it probably would have felt the same way.
But anyway, the only reason he gets defeated is out of he's just got rage for this rat because he scratched him. But so he just charges him, and you know, I guess he doesn't think Splinter has any weapon, but he has one of Mikey's nunchucks, and yeah, so just
Flips him.
flips him.
And
And Shredder actually kills himself because, you know, Splinter had to defend himself with that throwing knife.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And then Casey Jones crushes him
Yeah,
because he's mentally unstable.
I mean, clearly he is.
And then it ends with Kawabunga.
Yes,
I've always been a fan of Kawabunga.
Cowabunga!
I love. I guess I should
I
have.
made a funny. So great.
So I should have mentioned this when we were talking about the voice actors and stuff. There's actually a voice actor for Shredder. It's not the actor in the.
I assumed it wasn't the same guy.
But I think I don't know how I had it worded, but in my notes I put like his voice again, the Darth Vader comparison. I think it's up there with how Darth Vader sounds. You know,
Yeah.
like it's that iconic if you're a fan.
Voice. Yeah.
If you're a fan of Ninja Turtles,
I'm used to Uncle Phil's Shredder though.
Side note on
That's
that,
the one that I'm
because
used
I've been
to.
watching Fresh Prince. There's a part in the first episode. Never seen the first episode of Fresh Prince. There's a part where he gets mad at his wife, Vivian. You can hear the Shredder voice when he gets mad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is amazing.
I quick little tangent on it, but I say what you will about the newer Turtles movies. I really like Shredder in the newer one.
Like the second one?
The first one.
Okay.
Where like every time you see
The bald guy.
Oroku Saki, like you never see his face. He's always backlit. He's very like mysterious and everything. It's the same guy from John Wick 3.
Yeah.
That's who plays him.
Mm.
But
They
I
recasted him in the second one.
I remember, because you never see him in the second one. Like what they capture.
No, you see him.
Oh, do you?
He doesn't wear a helmet for half the movie.
Oh, maybe that's why I forgot about it. But
I actually like the actor in that one. But anyway,
in the first movie, like I remember the thing in the trailer and I loved it, and it was the shot of Shredder walking up to Splinter. And he goes like this, and like 6 knives on each side like come out of his suit. I'm like, that's cool. Like, say what you will, but it's a very cool looking movie.
it is cool, and it's probably just part of me that's such a. I'm just a. Let's just face it. I'm a fanboy for this trilogy. So like the simplicity of Shredder.
Oh yeah.
Like that shit was a little jarring for me when that movie came out, but I still like those 2 movies as well.
Yeah.
But.
Well, we want to rate this one and then hop into our second one then? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, okay, I
fan.
guess it's my
wanna
picks, so
I want to offend you.
You'll wait to offend him after he gives his piece.
Again, this is going to sound like such BS from me, and that, like, and you can call me biased or whatever. I'm going to go straight 10 out of 10 on the first one. Like, it's just perfect to me. And
Okay.
I mean, yeah. One of my favorite.
I mean, we're not going to judge you. Like, it's one of your favorite movies. But who are we to judge?
So, I mean, yeah.
I think that is good because, I mean, we'll get into the costuming and everything near the end, I assume. But just like what it was insane. It's the most profitable independent movie ever made. So that's
and I'm pretty sure that title still holds up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And I don't know, it's a little too referencey for me. I mean, some of the humor's funny, but some of it is like, oh my god.
But again, I probably have nostalgic blinders on.
Yeah.
All of those jokes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll give it like a 6 out of 10.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it the same rating, a 6 out of 10. It is a lot of fun.
It is pretty fun.
But I agree with Sean on his points. Is like some of that stuff is just over my head.
Yeah.
But I mean, like overall, there's only one thing that like the costume is made beautifully. They're mobile, like the stunt work and everything. The animatronics in the head work awesome. There's only one horrifying aspect of their heads. What scene were we watching?
It's after Raph wakes up.
Oh, and like Mikey goes like ha and like opens his mouth, and there's the actor's set of teeth in the back of the throat. And
I think it's Donnie. It's Donnie and April standing at the door.
Yes, because Sean goes, did you see that? And I was like, see what? And he rewinds it and then pauses it, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like,
Yeah, it's a terrifying message.
Yeah, but that's...
I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Oh yeah, no, people talk about it all the time. It wasn't even seeable until the Blu-ray version.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
I mean, like, those suits are made fantastic. And little tidbit of trivia, I worked with a guy at Lowe's. He was a mold maker for puppet stuff, like, in Hollywood.
Mm.
When he moved out there, one of his first jobs was, you will recall the TV series that they were doing after the third one.
Yeah.
Like in 97 or something like that.
Yep.
He did all the molds for the suits that they used.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. I thought you'd appreciate that little bit of trivia.
Now I want to talk to
that I
this
knew
guy.
someone who,
That's pretty awesome.
No, it is. When he told me that and he like showed me like pictures, I'm like, that is awesome.
I really got
Like
this guy.
I think he worked with Charlie Band's studio too.
Yeah.
Like the Puppet Master type of stuff. I think he worked with them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to talk to him sometime.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
Okay, so now we're on
I'll briefly
to
mention that series when we're done.
The Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again battle their arch enemy, the rogue ninja Shredder. Shredder attempts revenge by obtaining the same radioactive ooze that created the Turtles and unleashing two new monstrous mutants. Taka, an oversized snapping turtle,
Okay.
and Razar?
Rezar.
Yeah, a fearsome wolf-like creature. When Shredder plans to use the remaining ooze on himself, the Turtles must harness their ninja fighting skills to stop him.
What a letdown that is.
Well, what did you guys think of Secret of the Ooze?
So let me start off by, as a kid, this one was my favorite one.
It's a good one.
I go back on that now, like I just have such a love for some reason for the first one. But that was standing, like, this one is really fun. When I think of this movie, I think of that opening where it's not even the foot, it's just random people robbing the mall or whatever. And, like, the one shot of Donnie where he's pretending to be, like, one of those bobbing statue punching bags or whatever they are. And they push him over, and he just grabs this
like a hammer
thing and just like goes ham on the guy.
Whatever he does, because we both laughed at it because he goes like this and he's like pushing the clown. And he goes, "Oh," and like he points it and looks at the camera and goes like, "Oh," and then he starts doing it. And I was like, "Oh my god."
One
it's like,
thing,
what Three Stooges shit is this?
And that's what I love about this one.
It's great.
Like they just, like the first one, when they made it, they didn't necessarily think about kids.
No.
They really didn't. And so this one, I mean, like, the comedy aspect is just turned way up. Maybe for the good, maybe for the bad, but yeah, it's just
Our
comedy.
pizza guy's a kung fu master.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which I want to talk about Kino. Why are so many humans just okay with seeing these giant
They are. They
turtles?
just don't care.
Like,
they're like, nah.
Yeah, like Kino starts helping them fight the foot there. And he just like sees the turtles and he's just like, whatever.
No, that's another thing. Remember in the first movie where I said like there was a period of 5 minutes in which two people were like, I thought I've seen it all. Like, and that's what I think it is it's just people who are just like, nah, it's New York.
Yeah, it's New York.
I've seen giant humanoid turtles before.
Yeah, so the comedy's just through the roof. A bad part of that is they don't use their weapons, like, at all in this movie.
No, they really don't.
Like, the only time you see Leo's katanas is when he puts them in the roof to, like, jump on them and kick.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that was cool.
They went in the roof that easily. Wouldn't they just fall out?
Yeah, you think?
I always thought
Especially
that even as a kid.
With his weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these turtles got to be, like, 400 pounds.
You think, yeah.
At least.
Which is something I gotta bring up when we get to the third one. But
okay.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
They also love to use smashing their shells against each other.
That's always been a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shell of a time.
Mm-hmm.
They do that in the newer one too, right?
Oh, yeah.
They jump off each other's shells to attack Shredder.
Yeah, it's always been a thing with the turtles in any form.
I thought that it was kind of funny that it had just like the giant dandelions from the
The comical looking
Ooze.
dandelion.
and then like that one Freddy or whatever just works with the foot.
Yeah, I tried to
The
wrap my head
camera
around
guy.
that a little bit. I'm like, how did he just get a job in the news field? Like,
It's like, you enjoying your first day? It's like, okay, that's so stupid.
yeah.
Oh, so fun little bit of trivia.
It'd have been funnier if like he worked there for a while,
Yeah.
and Shredder. Well, Shredder isn't around, but if the Foot themselves just wanted to spy on her to keep tabs on her, you know.
I told Sean the professor in this movie is played by the guy who played Sark in the original Tron. He was the bad guy in the first Tron movie.
Okay, he's also that was also always one of my favorite things about this movie was him.
Not
And-
Vanilla Ice.
We'll get there. So the professor, the actor, right?
David Warner.
Yeah. I later found him as a kid. I found him he's in Titanic.
Yeah, that's right.
He's what Dick Face's bodyguard. Forget his name. Anyway, so like as a kid, I was like, oh, I've seen this guy, you know. But
well, that's what I said. I was like, I've seen this guy before. I know his voice and everything. And then when I Googled his name, Tron came up, and I was like, oh, duh. I was like, he's Sark.
yeah, and later on, I mean, it probably was like 2011. He was in an episode of Doctor Who.
Okay.
So I was like, holy shit, this is awesome, you know? Because at that point, I'm old enough, I'm like, oh man.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
I liked how in this one they started to get a little bit of their personalities back. I thought that this one was the one that it like resembled them the most.
Yeah.
Like Donnie's actually like smart and everything.
Yeah.
And
Raph is hot-headed and leaves the group to
Yeah.
go pursue his own thing.
yeah, I feel like this was the one that really encapsulated it the best.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the third one, it's just like way too much. Like,
Well, we'll get there.
yeah. But
That's really the bread and butter of this episode.
yeah, I thought that because like whenever they go and find out about the ooze, you know, he's like hacking into the computer and he's like, oh, and then the Foot show up, just like a ton of them.
Yeah, that's
Well,
yeah.
and when he's hacking into the computer, this is definitely geared more towards kids because he's literally just spouting nonsense.
Oh yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense at all, even for someone who doesn't have a scientific degree.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, none of that is words.
Right.
And like, but then he's like, oh yeah, this is it. Like, it was definitely geared towards kids where they have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And the parents are just saying, they're like, eat your popcorn and shut the fuck up.
So there's a lot of things about Kino that I have in He's the Pizza Dude.
Mm.
So the first part where he meets the turtles in there, at the end, the turtles leave him money and they take the pizza. The pizza never gets delivered to April O'Neil.
No, and I thought that Kino worked for the Foot in the one scene because he comes in and she's like, I didn't order a pizza, and he's like, no, but the guy in 313 did, and he's not here, and just walks in. I was like, it's like, is he gonna kill her? Like, what's going on here?
No, I know.
Like, he just seemed so like sinister in that moment.
That was my next thing I was going to bring up. I'm like, why did he just walk in?
Yeah, he's just like so forward about it. And April's dealing with them living with her.
Yeah.
And there's like 50 pizza boxes on her counter and everything.
And then he
I
just
figured
sets
you
that on
ordered
top of that.
I figured you ordered so much, you just couldn't even do it.
Yeah, and there's already pizza boxes there, and he just like stacks more.
So
on
I don't know if that was kind of the what we were supposed to put together was like, oh, they stole the pizza that one time, so she orders so much pizza, she can't eat all the pizza.
No, I don't know.
So like, did he, without having a scene about it, did he figure it out and was like, clearly this is where they have to live?
And that's what I was thinking. Like,
Yeah.
if he was part of them, I was like,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, well, he knows.
right.
But then it was weird. That's one thing that was written very weird. Like, you don't know who Kino's for,
Mm.
and then like,
and then he teams up with Raph.
yes, because we get another exposition in which. So in the first one, April had to be sat down by Splinter and explained the whole backstory.
Yeah.
In this one, The production wastes no time to sit keynote down and give the same exact story.
Yeah, basically they skip over the whole thing and they just leave in the I'm Michelangelo.
Yeah.
I'm Leonardo.
Yeah.
And I'm Raphael.
Yeah, they cut out the whole Oroku song.
Oh yeah, all that BS.
But I love that because I was waiting for it in the third one. I was waiting for
It's like
somebody to walk in and Splinter sit them down and give them the whole exposition all over again.
Like tension.
Yeah. These are my sons. 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
I thought that the I don't know which one is which, but Razor and
Toka is the
Toka.
snapping turtle.
yeah, I thought that Toka was so fucking annoying.
They both are.
Yeah, it's like
And I mean, I guess that ties into the fact that they're supposed to be like
Children.
infant,
yeah.
Beings.
You could definitely tell that Jim Henson's studio had something to do with this movie. Because
Well, yeah, they did
at the
the first
beginning,
two.
at the beginning they have in memory of Jim
Yeah.
Henson because he had just recently passed.
Yeah, like I think it was during or right before the
Yeah.
production.
But you can definitely see the design influences where, like you said, Toka looks like what'd you say from the Dark Crystal?
Skeksis from the Dark Crystal.
And Splinter looks like a dog instead of a rat. Like his design has changed from like how he looked in the
I mean, we
first
can also
movie.
tie all this in at the end when we talk about all the costumes, but just a real quick thing, I think Splinter just gets worse as the...
I think
yes.
he looks best in this one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he looks
Well, I guess he does walk around a bit more in this one than the first.
he looks
but-
more like a rat in the first one.
Right.
Then he looks like
Well, actually, he looks pretty screwed up in the first one
yeah.
when he's tied to
Yeah.
to the cage or whatever.
Second one
Actually,
was,
that Ryan Johnson shot where they like zoom in on his face, his eyes are just messed up. And I don't know if that's part of the whole being tortured or whatever.
I like the one in the second one because it's a little bit more fluid. Like the animation looks better and everything. Like he looks more like a Muppet.
Yeah.
Like should like articulate. And in the third one, he just looks like that puppet got run over by a car, and they were like, "It still works." Like,
yeah, he was...
and they just like sat him in the chair and just tried to just move the head, no arms, right?
But I think that the fight scenes are pretty on par for this one. I especially liked the Vanilla Ice dance scene.
Let me tell you, Vanilla Ice.
Let me tell you, I made the joke while we were watching it, and I said, Sean, why didn't the end of Venom, like the climactic battle, end up at an Eminem concert so Eminem could sing Venom while
Oh my
they
God.
fought in the crowd? That's the vibe that I got from Venom.
Yeah.
Like with the Eminem song at the end, I was like, what is this, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2? I mean, Secret of the Ooze, it could go either way with the symbiote.
They
Go ninja, go.
So
By the way, Vanilla Ice is either just as okay with the people, like, as the people of New York.
Well, they all
are
think
seeing
they're
Turtles.
they all think that they are costume.
That or he's high as a kite and he's just like, Turtles, man.
Well, he probably is. Yeah.
I mean,
But-
he doesn't have much brain cells anyway.
So to this day, I'm a legit Vanilla Ice fan. Like, I follow him. He had that show where he flipped houses and shit.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
Like, it was actually a really good show. He stopped doing that, but he still represents turtles. Like one of his recent music videos, he has the turtles in it.
That's cool.
It has nothing to do with the
Very
turtles.
cool.
He just has them in it.
Oh, all right.
So like,
I
he's
mean,
a legit turtle supporter.
That
like,
definitely helped him in the 90s.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
being part of that movie.
and
was
I
like,
think that's why he still, represents it or whatever, however you want to put it.
I watched that one. What was it? There was a movie that he was in called
Yeah.
Ice Cool or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
He's terrible.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you don't want to. Like I don't want to tarnish your view of Vanilla Ice. Like, I'm sure he's a great guy and everything,
yeah.
but like in that movie, he's just a terrible actor. He was better in this movie for the 2 minutes he was in than the whole hour and a half he was in that other one.
As a musician, thinking about it now, it's like he would have never been able to do this song
Yeah, just like impromptu rap.
Impromptu rap, and I mean, rap can be impromptu.
Well, yeah,
but,
yeah.
A brand new beat just magically is available.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's,
Could you imagine the people at his concert like, I hope he drops his single next?
yeah.
They're just
Like-
waiting for
Like,
it.
what is this? But
It's an extremely catchy song.
yeah,
Extremely catchy.
oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Going back a little bit, Shredder and them kidnapping Professor Jordan Perry. When Jordan Perry first came on, like when April's interviewing him or whatever,
Excuse
it was like, this dude's super sketchy.
Oh, yeah.
Totally hiding something, clearly, as we know. But he kind of comes off as a jerk a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But then, like, once the turtles are with him, he actually becomes, like, a pretty cool character, you know?
I was thinking the same thing. I was
yeah.
like, this guy's gonna be the villain, and then
Yeah.
it turns out, no, he's really not.
Yeah. Once he's paired up with the actual villain, like, you can kind of start to see it. But then when the turtles rescue him and take him with them, which is another character is just totally fine with it. He's like, oh.
Well,
he
he
I mean, he had a reaction to it.
Yeah, he clearly knows because he was probably responsible for the leak or whatever 15 years ago.
That was it. That was the thing. Remember, because after he, when Splinter is talking to the professor, he starts to go into the story, and he goes, 15 years ago, he's like, there was a cracked canister of ooze, and you all got mutated. And he's like, yes. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So he basically
so
understood.
at least they were like aware of the fact that they were doing way too much exposition.
Going back to the Vanilla Ice concert, so whenever they're spraying the CO2 fire extinguishers in their throats,
They're
and
dead.
they're dead, but also they transform back into their original forms in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And like nobody reacts to it.
That's true.
No, it's just a magic trick.
Yeah.
They figured that was part of the show.
Yeah. Well, that's true too. Yeah.
That's a big ass snapping turtle too that was in there.
There
call
are some
animal
big ones.
control. There's like a coyote and a snapping turtle at this concert.
Oh, yeah.
Not too worried about the snapping turtle, but the coyote.
Well, the
is a
snapping
little
turtle
worried.
will bite your finger right
As
off.
long as I stay on the stage, it ain't crawling up there.
That's true. Yeah.
The dog looked harmless though,
Yeah. You just look like a little
Yeah,
puppy.
it was like a
which is funny because
Coyote pups. I forget if it's a coyote, wolf, basically. The same
I think they said it was like a wolf type
Yeah.
of thing.
But it's funny because he's like, these are the two most vicious animals I could find, and it's like,
and you like hear like the noise coming from behind, and Sean and I thought it was gonna be Bebop and Rocksteady
Right.
because like you
Naturally.
hear like this groaning and everything, and then when you find out it's just like a coyote and a snapping turtle, I'm like, what the hell made that groaning?
So as a kid, I mean, like I said, this was my favorite as a kid. But one thing that always bugged me was that it's a ripoff. I always called them ripoffs of Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Like, why did they just use Bebop and Rocksteady?
Yeah, I'm like, did they not have the rights to them? Could they not figure out the costumes?
Yeah.
Like, what was the deal?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I never liked them. They actually do exist in... I don't know if they showed up in the cartoon, but like in other Turtle stuff.
Yeah.
They have shown up.
Were they in the original comics at all?
No.
I figured
They were original to this movie.
I mean, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah, I mean...
when you take, I mean, you're taking a risk like that with a known entity by introducing your own creations into it.
Yeah.
Because fans could take it
Well,
whichever way they want.
They probably figured, we don't have Krang in this, so people just want Krang if we have Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah. And I was like, thinking about that, and I was going, Bebop and Rocksteady are in here. I'm like, is Krang gonna show up?
Yeah.
Whenever they were disposing the tubes,
Yeah.
it looked like it was going into like a brain or something. I was like, oh, are they making Krang?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, that's interesting if they do it that way. Like the ooze just turns into like goes into the brain and becomes Krang.
I love when Mikey walks into that room. He's like, "What's video games in 3D?"
Yeah. Yeah, I think the comedy's about on par for the first one.
Yeah, I just think it's maybe even a little bit better in this one. But
yeah.
So let's talk about the final battle between Ooze Shredder.
I find myself really wanting all the time, anytime I watch this movie, I want to love this.
Did you know his costume grew too because of the
Yeah.
ooze? We were laughing about that. We're like, his costume.
I mean,
grew?
I knew that as a kid, but it really dawned on me this time. I'm like, what BS is this?
Yeah, that was funny.
But so yeah,
His costume looked cool as hell.
no, it does. It is a great costume. I had a toy of it as a kid.
That really did look cool. I was
So
like, because he said about how it was growing, and I was like, yeah, that's stupid, but I don't care. Like, it looks really cool.
right, yeah. It is a great costume. It was like a rumor, back before the internet when I watched these. Somebody said to me that it was Kevin Nash, the wrestler. And I'm like, there's no way that's Kevin Nash. Why would he be in a movie? Not thinking like everything's connected entertainment wise. But yeah, I want to like this just because I am a wrestling fan, and Kevin Nash is. I mean, he's not like one of my favorites, but he's cool.
It's funny because I looked up the cast before, like, we started the movie, and I just looked up the cast just to see who was still in it from the first one and all this. And it didn't list the original actor for Shredder.
Right.
It listed Kevin Nash. So I said to Sean, I was like, Kevin Nash plays Shredder in this movie. And then we see Shredder, and I'm like, that's not Kevin Nash. I was like, the hell? And then at the end, whenever he bursts out of the thing, I was like, there's Kevin Nash.
Which we forgot to bring up earlier, but they drop the pier or whatever on Shredder, and he does the hand thing for the third
time in the movie that he did the hand
where
thing.
he's like, or he's like, oh, he's still alive.
So speaking of the hand thing, the first one that happens in the junkyard or whatever,
yeah,
the way that the music is written or whatever, as a kid, it was actually a very scary scene, I thought. I mean, I don't do horror movies. I never did, But, to me, that was very scary when the Shredder's hand popped up.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious because we go into the junkyard, and I said to Sean, I was like, please do the cliche hand through the rubble thing. And then it comes up, and I'm like, yes! And then he did it again whenever he became Big Shredder. And
he punches through.
They did it the third time when he punches up through and then he goes, and dies. Which that made me believe, he's not dead.
I was
like, he was the size of the Hulk when they brought the pier down. He's not dead.
Yeah. I never understood this ending.
Oh, and when they come out of the water, they're not wet. None of the turtles are wet. They're going there's no water on them at all.
I think their bandanas are the only thing that's
Donnie's was the only, or not.
Mikey whips his around.
That was the only one that was actually visibly wet.
Yeah.
The others weren't very wet.
It must have just been for that shot, so he could be ugh.
Yeah, and you could hear it. It goes and flaps back. But
yeah.
I mean, I was like, they're not even wet. I'm like, why are they piping water out of their eyes?
They want to destroy them.
I guess.
Or maybe that's why we don't have them in the third. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But what a lazy end fight.
He kills himself.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, he's smashing the
pier, and then they're like, jump off the pier before it collapses on Shredder.
Leo even goes up to him and is like, Shredder, you're gonna kill us all.
And Shredder's just he's like Bane.
Then so be it, or whatever he says.
He's like Bane in Batman Forever.
Oh, don't.
Or
as bad as this don't do that.
It was Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Burn. Yeah, just smashing walls down.
Are we ready for?
I think so.
Okay. So, with this fight being what it is, it's going to impact my score actually, because discussing that just made me realize how garbage it is. But it's still going to be higher than yours, I'm sure. I'm going to put it at a 7.5. Just from that, basically about that battle. Everything else is fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to... It's really hard to say. I think that it's okay. It's like on par with the first one, but like still less somehow.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just go 5 out of 10.
I'm going to 7 out of 10.
All
I
right.
enjoyed it more than the first one, which was weird.
All right.
I don't know why. I was just like,
I mean, I used to it as well.
I was just more like drawn into this one. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
I mean, basically, it took me about 30 years to appreciate the first one more than the second one. So
It's
I can't argue that.
I mean, I like the first one.
Yeah.
But like you said, this was more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't
It
know.
was almost like watching a cartoon. Basically.
Yeah. It was more fun to watch. Your characters were established, and it might just be because we watched them in a succession that I was just like, okay, on to the next thing. And,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
All right.
Okay, now for our original recommendation.
Yeah,
But,
originally. And then, yeah. Didn't know we could do trilogies, and I'm like, all of them. Mainly just because you hadn't seen, you said you hadn't seen any of them.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to lead off with, to this day, when you ask my dad what the best Turtles movie is, he says this one. So,
Well.
yeah. So, I'm trying to think how this movie. Oh yeah, the weird samurai, big red sun in the background.
I'm gonna preface this.
Okay.
I actually like this one the most out of all three.
I also like it
Really?
the most.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I actually enjoyed this one the most
Oh
out
my
of all
God.
I
three.
recognize that it is not as good as the other ones, but I enjoyed this one more.
This is
Yeah.
gonna.
We both agreed watching it. We're like, I think this was the best one.
Wow. Okay. So my previous statement didn't make much sense because I'm the odd man out. But
That's
yeah.
why when you said that, I was like, I should just say something now.
I have plenty of critique, but
Well, I mean, that's fine. I'm actually really excited to hear why. Because don't get me wrong, it's not like unwatchable bad.
It's not RoboCop 3.
Yeah, well, I think I've watched 3, but I
It's
couldn't tell you if
terrible.
I did. I don't know.
Terrible.
But
Peter Weller isn't even in it.
oh, good.
No, but I'm pretty sure the guy who plays. In fact, I'm going to Google that. The guy who plays Kenshin, I think, is the robot samurai in RoboCop 3.
So I don't even know. I was gonna look up the synopsis because I can't describe movies. But
basically April gets thrown into the past, feudal
Yeah.
Japan, and the turtles have to go save her.
oh yeah, we didn't even touch on April like in the second one. Did you guys like the new actress more or less?
I think I liked
indifferent.
I think I liked the first actress better, but I think that she's better in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think her in this movie, she's better. Like, I feel like she really got her stride in this one. Like, she knew what she was doing finally.
Yeah.
And playing the character. Like, not to say that she was playing it poorly in the other one, but I feel like she got it more in this one.
Okay,
I don't
so
think it has one.
yeah, there is no subtitle. This is just 3.
3. I thought it was Turtles in Time. That's
Essentially-
that's an arcade game.
Yes.
I was
I-
like, what?
Think essentially that's where they got the idea. So reporter April O'Neil purchases an ancient Japanese scepter that can cause those simultaneously holding it in different centuries to switch place in time. When she is transported to the 16th century Japan, her crime-fighting pals, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you didn't know that,
What?
pursue her. After landing in the past, the turtles learn April has been captured by villainous Lord Noranaga. I don't know what I thought it was as a kid, but like reading that, I don't know.
You had a stroke?
Yeah. So to rescue her, they must team up with rebel leader Mitsu.
Mitsu.
Mitsu. I think they misspelled it on this synopsis.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, that's a pretty overview of that. So beginning, when April gets sent back, I'm pretty sure she would have just been killed instantly.
Oh yeah,
in real life.
she's wearing Kenshin's clothes.
Yeah.
So you'd think that they'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Well, I mean, they call her a witch because of
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they just would have killed her
Yeah,
instantly.
feudal Japan was very gruesome, so they probably would have just killed her immediately.
But it's pure entertainment, so obviously
And it is entertaining.
Oh, it certainly is.
we can't overlook that. So yeah, so she gets sent back. Basically she gets to stay alive because of Walker. I really hate that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that he's supposed to be hated, but I just really hate him. I don't know. So the Turtles recruit Casey Jones. I'm just going right to that because what a waste.
Oh yeah, Casey's like
of getting that actor back.
Well, he plays
Well, yeah,
Wit or whatever.
Yeah, the other guy. Didn't know that way before, until a couple years ago. Just because he has a beard, I still have trouble seeing it, even knowing it with this watch through. It was still kind of hard to notice.
They don't look very similar.
No. And I even tried to see how it was a wig, but I wonder if they actually shot, because I don't know if he actually had that hair.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. But where it was parted, I could see his scalp, so I don't know if he actually just cut his hair off and dyed it a little darker.
Yeah, maybe they showed it all with him with long hair and then just buzzed it all.
Right. Yeah. But so they recruit Casey Jones literally just to babysit Splinter because they're like, we don't know what these 16th century samurai guys are gonna do.
Speaking of which, so I said I had to bring this up later. So the reason that April and Kenshin get switched is because they have the same weight. So
yeah,
when the turtles get transported into feudal Japan, they're like 400 pounds. Those guys aren't 400 pounds that switch places with them. So that's clearly not how it works.
As Donnie puts it, it's a simple weight mass.
Yeah. And this is whenever their personalities are just cranked to 11 for no reason. This is where he's really stating nonsense. He's like, "Oh, the tangent of the quadrilateral."
Yes.
He's got a computer and everything now.
Yeah, it's this makes no fucking sense. He's just saying words.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on them finding a new place to live finally.
Oh yeah.
In the second one, but
the Amazing Spider-Man 2 set. Peter's dad's subway secret train car.
This is way before that.
You Mark Webb could fool me by saying he didn't use the same exact goddamn set to film that scene in The Amazing Spider-Man.
Was he actually called out on it?
No, but it looked exactly like it.
It's very similar.
Because when they go in there, Sean and I were both like, that looks like Peter's dad's secret lab in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
But that becomes very iconic, and this is actually where I'm going to briefly talk about that TV series. They actually still use it in that.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I don't know if it's the exact same one, but it's supposed to be.
That's where they introduced the female Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
I think that's why it got canceled.
Probably. Venus wasn't the best thing. She even had boobs.
Ooh, turtle boobs.
Turtle boobs.
It's like Howard the Duck. Duck tits.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, anyway. I don't know. They act really. I feel like the turtles act really stupid in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all kind of dumbed down. So let's just talk about the suits because we're there.
Their mouths get narrower in each movie.
I put in my notes, the turtle suits look better, but also worse.
Yeah. It's because I feel like they can move easier so that they can do more stuff.
And the mouth is better,
I thought
but also worse.
The mouth moves better than it did in the first one, But if you notice in the first one, like their mouth is really wide to like open up. Here it's like they start like at the corner of the eyes and they have like a very narrow mouth, which makes me uncomfortable.
And they kept doing like a weird like Trump
face.
Yeah. There's a couple times I paused. I forget like each movie, and like no matter where I paused it, it's weird,
terrible,
terrible weird face that the turtles were making.
We were talking about that, and I was saying, it looks really good because you can't not like when you're doing animation, like match up the lips to what they're saying. So instead, they just kind of like flap the mouths open and like add words in.
Like there's good instances where they get the mouth to look like it said whatever, but then there's sometimes where it's like it's not even remotely close to what it's saying.
Yeah,
I think that was actually more prominent in this one. Like I think they went back and they're like, well, it should say this, but we don't have time to.
Should have sounded like this.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts about talking about the mouths is whenever Leonardo gives mouth to mouth to Yoshi, and he could have just
mouth to beak.
Yeah, he could have just put his entire mouth over Yoshi's face to like breathe air into him. Like he's closing his nose and everything. It's like you could have literally just been like on his fucking face.
That's the other thing. Yoshi had an American accent where he's just like, grandfather, help me. Like he sounded nothing like 16th century Japan.
Yeah.
And obviously, I know that it can't possibly be the same Yoshi that has Splinter, but I feel like it's trying to invoke that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because...
Well, it's 16th century.
Yeah.
Way before,
I said that to Sean. I was like, Yoshi, I hope they're not talking about the Yoshi. And I was like, because that was 15 years ago, not the 16th century.
So as a kid, I had a hard time wrapping my brain around, like, what kind of time travel this was. I thought they were just transported, like, opposite sides of the Earth. Like, as a kid, because I don't know, I was dumb, I guess. But... I mean, clearly now I know, but just one of those weird things. This is totally irrelevant. I don't know why I put it in here. But April has a new haircut.
Oh, yeah.
And I absolutely love it.
I feel like she actually gets to do stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
and I watched some other reviews, and that was actually a negative for them.
What, that she does stuff?
That she does stuff. I'm like, okay.
She was better. She's a better character in this.
I think so, too.
I liked her a lot in this one.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she helps out with the village, and whenever she's all tied up, she frees Wit and everything.
Yeah.
Which backfires on them eventually, but...
Right, yeah.
Which then backfires on...
Walker. Yeah, Wit, like, slams him with that fireball at the end. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh... The animation in that was when he just falls against the green screen and then the splash, he just disappears and there's a splash.
Yeah.
That's like half of his body size. He just goes, and it's...
Yeah, I don't even think there's a splash. I think it just makes a splash sound.
It just makes a sound. Water. There is no splash. It's just the waves.
It's so bad. That was terrible.
Oh my god. So great.
So to me, like, there's not as many iconic moments in this one. Like,
see, we might be biased because of the whole Japanese thing. Maybe that's why we enjoyed it more.
See, I've never been into, like...
It was very interesting.
No, I can, like I said, I know that it's worse. I just enjoyed it more because it's like I like it because it's bad type of thing, you know?
I definitely see that. I just enjoyed that it wasn't in New York because I feel like...
Oh yeah, 3 movies in New York.
Yes, and I think that's why they did this because they were like, are we really going to have a third movie where Shredder magically comes back from the dead, played by Kevin Nash, and then they have to fight him in New York, a la the same type of shit that we've done for the last 2 movies?
Well, so actually, they should have, because that fight was bullshit.
You're right. And I was actually hoping that one of the bad guys would have been like a descent or like ancestor of
Yeah.
him.
Like a version of the
Yes,
Shredder, yeah.
Yeah, like
That
an
could've been
ancient
interesting.
version, which that's what I thought was going to happen.
That would have been
Which
pretty cool.
it was kind of like, but I was glad it didn't because I thought that would have been.
But
too
it also
predictable.
actually referenced an older version or a prophecy Shredder because, the turtles were
Demons.
called Kappas,
Yeah.
demons. And so they find this scroll of...
Oh, was Shredder on the scroll?
He
Yeah.
is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, very briefly. Like, they don't focus on it and they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But there is a metal... He
Which-
actually looks a lot like 2014's, actually.
Which,
Yeah.
if they had done that, if they had like the ancestral Shredder, it would have been cool because then it would have been like, oh, so Shredder based his suit off of like his great ancestors,
Right,
like
yeah.
suit, which would have been neat. But I was kind of glad it didn't because I felt that was too predictable. Like I felt like going into this, I was
That'd
like,
be
oh, we're
shrinking.
gonna get ancestral Shredder and all
Yeah,
this,
shrinking the universe.
and then it wasn't, and I was like, oh, I was like, interesting. I was
Yeah.
like, so we got the British pirate is our bad guy.
So I always liked, is it with a T? Mitsu?
Mitsu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitsu. I always liked her character. She's like sister to Yoshi, right?
Yeah, she's an older
I always
sister.
thought that it was his mom, but they, I guess, say
Yeah.
that at some point. But,
And then we have comical old man.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
Yeah,
don't
the-
want Mitsu to fight.
yeah, the what do they call it? The cliche, ancient Japanese guy, like eyebrows and everything.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Always
Confucius.
has to have the big beard like in Kill Bill.
Yeah.
No, I genuinely liked this one the most.
So I guess we should go over more story beats. Walker wants to sell guns
To the
Yeah,
Japanese.
to the Japanese. So basically, he's just trying to get Lord Norinaga to buy stuff. And actually, the turtles help with that because it finally pushes them to.
Yeah, to
Do
buy
it.
the guns.
But
I thought that would have been.
I don't know
cool
when the
if it was
16th century was. Was there actually guns? Like, is
Yeah,
that all
yeah,
accurate?
yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not.
I wish that they would have shown that battle.
Mm.
Like if the Japanese had actually like gotten guns and gone out and like tried to kill the turtles that
Yeah.
way. Like I thought that would have been neat because I was waiting for that and I was like, ooh, I was like, this-
Yeah, I don't think he ever actually acquires. the
no,
guns.
because it doesn't. They stop
they-
them before the morning
Oh.
when the battle's supposed to take
Oh,
place.
I really like the part whenever Walker tells them to fire on the turtles. And he's like, he wants you to fire on us because he knows that we're demons and your bullets will bounce off of us and hit back to you.
That was a great moment.
So why don't
actually.
you have him take the first shot?
And then he goes over to the cannon and they're like, oh, nice job, leader.
Oh yeah, by the way, we forgot to mention that Lord Norinaga gets a bell dropped onto
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And then
A cannonball goes
and then
through.
Walker shoots through the gets shot through
That's where the Don
and
King
he should have
joke comes
totally
in.
been dead after that. If not
Oh
dead,
yeah.
permanently deafened.
That-
Because that was like...
that's where the Don King
Yeah.
joke comes in.
yeah.
Because he comes out, his hair is like all over, and he's like, "Hey, Don King."
I don't even know who that is.
I'm not entirely sure either, but I laughed at it.
I laugh at it
I was
every
like,
time, but I have no idea who it is.
I was like, he's referencing something that I should know, but I don't.
Reference humor. Bazinga.
So yeah, like there's really with I don't know.
It's
I hate that Michelangelo is captured for
yeah.
a good portion of the movie. It might not be as long as I think it is, but
One thing that I think is really stupid is so they need to search for the scepter because it goes missing.
Right,
And then they're
right.
like, oh, the blacksmith is just gonna smith us another magical scepter.
Yeah, I was
Well, I
like,
think
was
even
like,
April
what is the
says,
logic
like,
behind that.
so your plan is for him to build one.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it
There's
doesn't
no
make sense.
scientific proof that it would ever even work.
There was a part whenever Wit was like, take me to the future with you.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, we can't do that. I thought for a second that, like, Casey and him would, like, switch
Oh my
places.
and then Casey would end up back there, and he's like, "Whoa, gnarly dude!"
Yeah, he's, like, trapped in feudal Japan. He's like, ready to beat some heads.
He would get what he deserves. Because the feudal Japanese would just kill him immediately.
No, he'd
Not in
fend
this
him off
universe.
with his hockey stick, and he'd learn to become a samurai. Which, all the stuff with Casey Jones in their house is so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I know that you have to cut back to it to just be like, here's what Splinter's up to.
Here's
but it's
Casey and Splinter.
It's like,
Here's
this-
all the Japanese guys learning hockey.
Yeah,
hockey. It's
I do think that's pretty funny, like the way that they're infatuated with it.
I thought it was hilarious when they go back to when they're at the bar and Casey's like, "All right, guys, it's time to go back," and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's go." Not, and they all turn around and high five.
Yeah, they're all still playing I think they're playing an arcade machine at
Yeah.
that time. Yeah, it's
I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot to say about
there,
this movie.
that's the thing. Like, there's really not.
They're
There
just
isn't,
fight.
but it's fun.
I think it's visually pleasing, like them being in the woods and everything. Like, I think
Yeah.
it looks good. I like it. I think it looks better than them in the sewers and in, like, grimy New York. So that's one thing that I like more about it.
I honestly, I really liked that opening scene with the red sun silhouetting the horseback.
I mean, it definitely
Because-
looks great.
Well,
right.
and the
But-
cool part about that was there's the subtlety of the 4 horse riders
Right.
chasing the one, and I was like, oh, like it's the turtles, like it's supposed to
Supposedly,
symbolize
yeah.
that, and I like that opening. I have to say,
No,
I
yeah,
thought
it's-
it was really cool.
that is not bad.
Stylistically, it's a good choice.
So when they actually go back and they're
Oh yeah.
they're transported on to those horses, those outfits are actually, like, I love when they're in the samurai getup.
Yeah.
Those were cool.
The honor guard.
Honor guards, yeah. Had those as a kid. The actual toys.
I think NECA remakes most of those now.
I've seen them. I do not own any. Ninja
So
Turtle
one thing that was stupid was that Donnie's like, oh, if it doesn't go through this time cycle or whatever, then we'll be trapped there. And then so the 4 of them get transported back: April, Donnie, Raph, and Leo. And then Mikey doesn't go at first, and that
because he doesn't reach it.
yeah,
Right?
the Japanese guy is like trapped there, and he goes away. But then it does teleport him back. So you,
Well, I think he's still within the time.
I don't
right?
know. It seemed like it was like
No,
breaking the rules.
No, there wasn't really like a time like set thing, because like it was just they kind of broke the rules when they're just like, somebody activated the thing, and it's like, oh, like I guess it just activates if someone's been holding it in their hand too long. Like,
I think you have to read the scripture, don't you?
oh, I don't remember that. I thought
I don't
Kenshin just
remember either.
held it and then it just started like glowing, and then they're like, oh, somebody grabbed it.
I think okay. So April's looking at it when she bought it or whatever. She's going to give it the Splinter. I think Kenshin finds it and he reads it.
Oh, yeah.
He activates it. And then actually at the end he activates it again because he's tired of waiting around or whatever.
Yeah,
So I think it activates from
Okay.
the scripture on it.
I must have missed that.
I don't think they really, focus on that.
Didn't really go in depth for this.
Yeah.
Well, you have anything else to say about this one?
Any
Not
last
really.
words about it?
I mean, I know it doesn't seem like it even said anything about it. I just don't enjoy this one nearly as much as the others.
I'm shocked.
It's not a bad movie. I think I've never really been like a samurai movie kind of person. Like, I've never really done westerns until our last thing. Like, I couldn't tell you a single western I've ever watched other than that one. So yeah, just stylistically, I just never liked this one.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Would you rate it?
I mean, like I said, it's not a terrible movie. It was enjoyable to go back and watch it again, just because I haven't watched it, like I said, in years. But with that said, I still don't think it's not great. It's not terrible. So I think I'm just gonna go right in the middle. I think 5 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm just shaking. my
Aaron's
head
over here
here.
shaking his head.
Well, maybe I'll be a little
But
confused.
who am I to judge? As I
I-
said.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the other ones are better movies. I think that I mean, the costumes are still okay, but they're like the worst ones that they have
Yeah.
for the most part. Splinter looks terrible.
Oh,
That's because-
god awful in
That's
this.
that's because he was just a hand puppet
Yeah,
on
Literally, yeah.
on the rest of the stuff.
And I don't know. I like that it's changed up from Shredder, but I don't know if the villain is like good enough.
Right.
So I almost want to rate it less than the second one, but I think I'm just going to rate it a 5 too. I do like it the most out of all of the three of them, but I realize that it's not as good as the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 out of 10.
I'm gonna stick with the 7. I'm gonna rate it the same as the second one. It's I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot more. It was, and I think it's the change up. It's the change up from New York and the sewers and everything. I thought it was gonna be the dumbest one. I honest to God, like whenever we pulled them up and I was like, oh, this is the one where they go to feudal Japan. I was like, this premise sounds so fucking dumb. And then I watched it and I was like, actually, that wasn't that bad. But I think it was just the change up.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave it at a 7. I think it was just enjoyable enough. Or if you like the characters enough, you'll give it a chance and you'll decide for yourself. I mean, it was fun to have them go back to the roots of where the ninja started and all that. I thought that was cool.
Well, there you have it, everyone. Our reviews of the Turtle Trilogy.
Still not even the longest.
No.
And we did a trilogy.
No, it's the longest.
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
30.
Oh.
Well, I mean, maybe our first ones were a little longer. Like our very first ones.
I don't remember.
Either way. We have another recommendation from us
It's time.
this time.
Yes.
It's time. I forgot about
Yes, we do. And you guys are going to hate me.
it.
Since we're on the subject of turtles and trilogies,
Oh, dear God.
my recommendation, which you can't find them except through me, will be to watch the Heisei Gamera trilogy.
What the hell is that?
They are the rebooted Gamera movies from the 1990s. And I will preface this with saying, ask any Godzilla fan who has watched these movies, they're better than 90% of the Godzilla movies. And Gamera is the lesser known, made fun of MST3K character. I will tell you right now, these movies are pretty good, and I think you're going to enjoy them. But keeping on the same, we're going to stick with turtles and trilogies.
Okay, guys. Well, you heard it here. Our Heisei Gamera trilogy recommendation for next time. Thanks, as always, for listening or watching. I hope you enjoyed our discussion on the Turtles movies. I enjoyed watching them and talking about them. So, yeah, let us know what you thought about that in the comments. And I guess we'll see you next time. Turtle Power!
Sayonara.
TLE Power.